front page, at least in the Irish News, where stories must be very scarce indeed. For this week, we had an example of stating the bloody obvious. It occurred when SDLP councillor Carl White announced to the world with great opprobrium that he had discovered that Belfast City Centre was awash with discarded needles used in the use of illegal drugs. This is what we, Carl, had to say.
We're a couple of hundred metres from Belfast City Centre, and just behind me in this car park, there are discarded needles and other drug paraphernalia. And it's clear for anybody walking around the city centre, you see people suffering from both drugs and alcohol addiction. That's because of a failure from the Department of Health and the Department of Justice over many years now to tackle a problem that is actually sitting right in front of us for anyone that walks through Belfast City Centre. The question about a drugs consumption boom, I was dubious about that previously. I think people are nervous about the idea that you could legally inject what are illegal substances. But I think
he says all this as if he's discovered this, as if nobody knew about this until he got out of his car. Seriously, I was writing about this in the same newspaper years ago. And Brian Smith, Councillor Brian Smith from the Green Party, has led the crusade to do something positive to remedy the situation. That councillor's been working on it for years. Now, the punchline for me was when Councillor White admitted that he had been against the only viable solution to the problem, namely the adoption of a safe consumption room for Belfast. So, Councillor White, instead of attempting to make yourself appear relevant by jumping on an issue others have been working on for years, a bit of humility on your part wouldn't go amiss. Firstly, you could admit that it's taken you far too long to waken up to the issue. Then you could apologise for objecting to the only rational solution proposed by Councillor Smith many years ago, namely a consumption room. Now, I was beginning to think elections were coming up, because that's usually what happens when elections are coming up. Councillors jump up and let on that they've suddenly discovered something that everybody's knew about for years. But here's the truth, people. I've said this before. Drug addiction isn't a disgrace. It's a disease. And until we accept as a society that it's a health issue and stop wasting millions treating it as a criminal issue, we'll never have the resources to go after the real scum, namely the drug dealers, rather than the drug users.